That was all last night's rain. Impressive, eh? This is the potatoes, and guess what's under here? Oof. Something I do to all American YouTubers. I bury them and make a little mound on top.
Oh, cool. So I gotta join?
Yeah, no, it's my potato crop. All the potatoes are there, and I've covered it with straw and earth. So I've got enough potato there to last me until up to May next year, you know. I've got 10 months of potatoes or something. This is the vegetable garden.
Oh, nice.
This is a fine sight. What we're going to do, we're going to get a cucumber for lunch. It's actually been a really hard year, been really cold and really damp. And this is good. This is really nice stuff. This is salad.
So what do you think of French culture?
I think it's dead. I think all culture's dead. I think the soil's dead. Culture comes from living in an area and cultivating the ground. And that's what gives you differences. Now we make a big fuss about culture and preserving culture, but when the soil's dead, it's like a tree that's got no roots. I think we should just face it, you know, culture's dead if we can't go back to the soil.
So what do you mean by that? Because I'm traveling through Brittany and I'm seeing many farms that have nice looking crops.
It's just growing with fertiliser. If you stop the fertiliser, you're just seeing gas, Peter. To me, it's just, you know, the fertiliser comes from the gas. You know, everything we see, our clothes are made from petrol. Our houses basically are made from synthetic materials. And our food is just grown there thanks to the petrochemical industry.
So we're at roughly 8 billion people in the world, right? How do you expect the world to feed itself without fertilizer?
Well, at the moment, the world doesn't want to feed itself without petrochemicals.
Right.
So I'm not here to impose anything on anybody. I don't want to feed myself on petrochemicals, and I found a solution. This is beetroot, parsnip, cabbages, spinach, parsley.
What is this?
Amaranth. It's beautiful, look. You know, it's like quinoa, but little.
Okay, so that's a grain.
That's a grain, and I'm kind of trialling it.
Smells good.
You're not smelling, I think you're smelling coriander.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that smells so good.
That smells so good, yeah. That's the cilantro, you know, too.
It smells so good out here.
And if you like eating blue, then borage flowers, though, I love blue flowers. Anything blue is good. Not a lot of food is blue. And can you see the plant behind?
Uh-huh.
That's quinoa. I think we're going on a gourmet trip.
Is that a poppy?
Yeah.
What else you got going on out here?
People like to make jokes at me when they steal my poppy, but... For lunch, we're going to try something really good fun, and we're going to try grilling corn in its sheath on the fire. This is really good. You just stick this in the fire, and it'll cook without burning. And we're just going to do one or two, just as a little extra for our meal. This is how we fertilise the garden, is with all this stuff.
So you don't use cow dung?
Haven't got cows. People want to talk about vegan farming. Vegan farming, technically, when you don't use manure. But how does the grass get into the end up in the soil? It's lots of little bacteria eating it and, you know, spewing it out. And so it's not vegan. It's just lots of little animals rather than one big one. The same process, it just takes longer. I'd have lost all my credibility if people hadn't seen leeks in my garden. Leek soup in winter. It's been a Celtic fuel since prehistoric times. In Brittany, they've got a Celtic language, which is called Breton. Traditionally, 100 years ago, they didn't speak French in Brittany. They spoke Breton. And it's distinctly different. It's not a Latin language, it's a Celtic language. It's almost identical to Cornish, very similar to Welsh. Brittany's been attached to France for several hundred years. So there's a long history of being a region of France, but 100 years ago, hardly anything French came in. We're a real backwater. Basically, Brittany, if you look at the map, it's a dead end. It's a peninsula sticking out. Nobody went through it. So basically, nobody bothered us. And so but a lot of the old traditions.
So how is Brittany perceived by other French people outside of the region? What is it looked at? Are you guys like the hillbillies out here?
Yeah, it's actually one of the regions of France that people move to the most.
Oh, okay.
Because it's got a positive identity. It's still France, but it's actually got a lot more culture. So this is like really old. You can see this well is really old. It's just made with 4 stones. And you can see the way that stone's been worn away there. In winter, the water runs over it, but it's like
How
really
old do you think this is?
It's hard to tell. I think a lot of stuff here does date back to before the Romans, you know. It's like, because you've got the megalithic culture of the menhirs and the dolmens, which goes like 6,000 or 7,000 years ago. And I think that a lot of the banks and the sunken pathways actually date back to that era. You've got Stonehenge, you've got a lot of stone stuff in Great Britain, but the biggest concentration is in southern Brittany, in Carnac, and they've got rows, the alignments, they've got rows of thousands of stones. All the top 10 tallest stones, more or less, are all in Brittany. And they've got the most stones, so it was obviously the centre of the megalithic culture. You know, I was a big fan of, before I got into farming, I had to visit every single standing stone in Brittany. But I think I liked them because it was just an idea of another reality. No one knows why they built them. You know, it's completely forgotten. The Romans just wiped out all the, you know, the tribes, so nobody knows. So there's something mysterious, and to me they're beautiful. You know, I'm always in search of beauty. This is the cider shed. They're all a mess. This is my swallows. I've got some babies in there. This is what nobody gets to see.
Oh, that's the cider.
Yeah, this is the cider. That's why I'm there.
Okay.
That's empty. It's all almost empty. I'm making cider probably next month, but that's empty. This one's where we're drinking. This one's full.
Do you drink a lot of cider?
I like to drink it while I'm working. I find it goes really well with manual work.
Do you get like a nice, gentle little buzz?
I don't drink to get drunk. I drink to hydrate. Breton spring water's got a bad reputation because of all the nitrates in it. And so I just reckon that cider is filtered water because it's filtered by the apple tree. The tree takes up the water, puts it in the apple drops down, you crush the apple, you get the juice, you stick it in the barrel. It's 100% apple juice and sugar goes off, so it's even better for you because it's too sugary otherwise. It's just a really, really
What's the
drink.
alcohol content?
It's about the same as beer, 5 or 6. It's not strong. You can have about a litre a day, you know, easy.
Okay, so this is where your father and sister lives?
Yeah, and I live here part-time, half and half, you know.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, this is great.
A bit of luxury. Let's cook something nice.
Yeah, I cooked this nice tart.
Oh, it smells so good.
Like strawberry jam.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, this is beautiful. Your fireplace.
Yeah, Dad built it all.
Did your father build this place or it came
All of
like...
it.
He built it?
All of it, yeah.
By himself?
Yes.
What do you think people don't understand about this lifestyle?
I think that people have been told lots of things by their education which aren't true.
Like what?
Like, people in the past had a really bad time. And obviously really bad things did happen in the past, and people did die, and loads of bad things. But you don't convey, when you say that, the fact that it's just really, really nice to have fresh air. And you can say that really quickly, fresh air. But actually, it's a huge, huge thing. Or to hear birds singing. And all these people we think of in the past with the plague and the Middle Ages and everything, they were having so much nature around them, birds and fresh air and pure water, and particularly in the countryside.
Yeah, if you're out of the cities.
Obviously they had the plague in the towns and stuff. There hardly anyone within the towns back then. But it's interesting in Brittany because it's one of the areas of Europe where they modernised and industrialised the last. There used to be lots of Americans who used to come here and they used to write articles and journals and books about it. Back in the beginning of the 1900s, because it was so incredibly old-fashioned and people would be doing things which Like, it was like the Middle Ages. I mean, even now today in Britain, you can meet like somebody who's in their 70s and they would have looked after the cows in the fields when they were young, or they've been born in a house with a dirt floor. It's really surprising because they look completely modern. And yet for them, they're like, oh yeah, I wasn't born in a hospital, I was born in like one of these, they're called like Lee Clo, like box beds. You used to have them in Scotland as well, with like wooden doors that open and close on them. If you don't have money, and you're in the countryside, you're not necessarily poor, you can have masses and masses of stuff that you grow. More stuff than you ever imagined you could have in the town. And that's what people used to know. The peasants were the rich ones, and the rich people were always trying to get, you know, the aristocrats were trying to get their stuff off them all the time. That's where the wealth all comes from, is the land. But it's like people don't tell you that. You're actually in the town, you're completely reliant on them, on the system, for everything.
Well, we're all reliant on our food source.
Yeah, and clothes. If you start thinking about clothes, it's just a whole area of complete madness.
Okay, so do you feel like you have more freedom just by being close to your food?
Yeah, a bit, but I mean, if you just start really thinking about things, you know that anything crazy could happen any minute. Like drones or nuclear explosions, or I wouldn't say I felt particularly cocky, but I think it's more like day to day, it's nice to have your own things to eat because it's so nice more than anything else. It's a pleasure to prepare them and pick them. It's more just like trying to have a good time every day, I think, really.
What do you think about the direction the world is going in? That's a wide question.
I think we should be very worried about the children. I think the children are not in a good state. They're not being looked after properly.
How so?
They're not getting enough healthy adult input, I think. And so as a child, if you don't have healthy adult input, you can't develop properly. I mean, I was lucky because my parents spent a lot of time with me. And you just need it. People talk a lot about it's good for children to play together, and that is nice. But it's also very, very special for them to spend time with adults, and also older children. I mean, I got a lot out of spending time with my little brother and sister, because I didn't go to school. And it was because I did go to school till I was 9, and then I left. And it was a huge thing. At the beginning, it was so boring playing with little children. Everything they did, it was just like, they couldn't do anything. They were really little. They couldn't do anything. It was so boring playing with them in comparison to my friends, so-called friends at school. But then after a bit, I thought, there's a whole dynamic here because they're looking up to me and I can help them do stuff. Because I was the youngest one in my school, so it was like, I was thought a bit stupid. Suddenly I was like really important. And it was just really fun having to look after some little children. And people don't talk about that much.
You think that's missing now?
I really do. I really do. I think human society isn't doing very well. And I think the world itself is fantastic, but humans are doing silly things to it all the time. And human beings a lot of them aren't in a very good way.
How do you think that changes?
How do you think that could change? It's a good question. I guess it would have to be down to people thinking for themselves a bit more, maybe.
I'm trying to get it boiled. Once it's boiled, 10 minutes, and then it's good. The basic art is getting it boiled. But yeah, the meal plan is boiled potatoes. Well, it's walnuts to start off with, bread and cheese and butter, cucumber. So we've got to, the idea that you have a drink and then you can cheers and everything, and it's social. I never tasted this. I don't know if it needs watering down or what, but...
Yeah, thanks for getting me the juice since I don't drink booze.
You can be the first to try it. I'm going to put myself some more cider because... So that's... Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Drink.
Oh, yeah.
Walnuts.
That's nice. What inspired you to pack up from your country? I see where Samuel got it from, but...
I like to think of it more being like a United States of Europe. So it's more like moving from Washington to Oregon or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Not everybody likes to see it that way.
So when you came here, it was super inexpensive.
Still is, really.
Still is.
Still is. It's 4,000 a hectare, but you're not allowed to live on it. You can't build a house on it.
You have to take a pre-existing home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why it's so inexpensive.
yeah, you can't, yeah.
Is it hard to live this lifestyle in this country?
In this country, basically the French identity is being a small-scale farmer. That is the ultimate French identity.
Okay.
And therefore everybody, in theory, supports everyone that's doing it. When the farmers, even though they've moved a long way from what we're doing, they've got big tractors and big machines. When they go on the news and say, look, life isn't fair, we're not being paid enough, they just get 100% support, more or less, from the French population, because France sees itself as a farming nation, even though it's only actually 2%, apparently, of people that make their living through farming now. It was only 70 years ago when it was probably 70%.
So with the small farms that go, the culture goes with it to some degree. Fair to say, or?
Fair to say. When we moved here, there were a few farms that were very small, and the farmers were speaking Breton. They weren't really French speakers.
And that was only 30 years ago,
That
right?
was only 30 years ago. They were just on the edge of retirement. I think it's just the nature of the modern world is that most cultures are being sort of levelled. They're becoming one culture. Everybody's got the same smartphones. People have got the same apps on the smartphones. That's the culture, isn't it?
This is just the best bread.
From the garden.
Yeah, you're never going to get, I can't see how you're going to get a bread more authentic than this in the Western world. The grain's grown by hand, 100%, harvested by hand, it's threshed by hand. A little bit of nuclear energy for milling the flour and cooked in a bread oven.
So this is natural butter from the village, correct?
Yeah.
And cheese,
Yeah.
all local,
Cheese with seaweed.
with seaweed.
Mm.
Okay.
It's really good. You come to France, you're not going to have a lot of wine, but you can have a lot of cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Wine in France, wine and cheese.
Okay.
It's good. Mm-hmm. Got 6 hours to radicalise Pete, so that's my ambition. I had a lot of stuff, but
You're going to radicalize me?
I'm just hoping to, radicalise you to, I think, real freedom. I think freedom, I just can't see how you can really get it unless you've got a bit of land, And obviously you've got the rules in place in the country, but when you've got your own bit of land, you don't really need to listen to all the stuff that's going on, do you? Because you've got everything you need.